if you park on the other side of the building, there's an easier way to get there than walking all the way around the church, kind of thing. So if you don't know where you park when this is over, come see me on that regard. So we're thrilled to have this every month. It just keeps growing. Next month, we're going to be, when you come, you're going to go into over here to the Family Life Center, or a gym, because we're going to be on Medicare, and we probably figure it's going to be double the amount of people that are here today. So we're going to be over there. We'll move everything over into that facility, or that space, simply because we couldn't get everybody in here. So when you come in and there's nothing out here in the hall except the registration, all the vendors and everything will be over on the other side. So at St. Mark's, we have church service on Saturday nights and Sunday. If you're looking for a church, shopping for a church, we'd love to have you come. We have a new senior pastor, and he made me say that. But we're thrilled to have Jeff Klinger here. And I just want to make one announcement, is that this month in September, we're going to be building, you've probably heard me talk about it before, but we're going to be building 140 book beds for kids in Lincoln, because there are 8,800 kids in Lincoln sleeping on the floor. And outside this facility, we have a basketball courts, and we're going to use 300 volunteers, and we're going to build 140 beds for kids for the Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So if you are handy or not handy, we can use you, kind of thing. So, right down the middle. Well, if you can carry a board, or if you can tell people where to go, we have a job for you. So anyway, welcome to St. Mark's. If there's anything we can do for you, let me know.
All right, great. Let's see, we've already got our panelists up here. Okay, well, today we're having our seminars on downsizing and decluttering. We have Wendy Triddle here with Organized by Design, and we have my mom, Alicia Crastill. Both have extensive experience in the topic, so it will be an exciting one. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves. So Wendy, why don't you go first?
Hello, I'm Wendy Triddle with Organized by Design, and I help people relocate. We help with the hand-holding process, going through your items by downsizing, decluttering, organizing, packing, and then we also contact moving companies to haul the large items, and then we will unpack and get your home ready. Usually we try to do it the day of, so there's no boxes or totes or anything that you have to deal with. We even put pictures on the wall the day of your move. So, thank you for having me today.
Hi there, I'm Alicia Crastill. I'm with the Nebraska Real Estate Specialty Group, and I also have just started the Savvy Estate Sales, which actually helps our clients and gets their things liquidated. And I've been in helping seniors for, well, a long time, and in various different roles. I ran an antique mall for 20 years, so I know the value of the things that you've collected. We've done estate sales before, I've done real estate. I did actually in-home companion care and help people downsize and move them before it was even a thing. So, I appreciate Wendy being up here. She's a real professional at this, and I hope we have some good tips to share with you.
And I'm TJ Crastill. I'm going to be your moderator, I guess, today, since my mom is on the panel. And I'm with the Nebraska Real Estate Specialty Group of Nebraska Realty. We're the kind of the founders of the Savvy Senior Seminars, and these seminars are all about teaching you guys and keeping you informed and learning, continually. So thank you guys all for coming. Continue to show up and bring your friends, and we'll continue to have them. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to have a question for Wendy first here. How'd you get into this organizing, downsizing, relocation business?
I've been in it for about 15 years, so I spent a lot of time just helping, being a stay-at-home mom, and then I had lots of friends and neighbors come over and say, hey, would you come over and organize your pantry? My pantry, your pantry looks so great. Your house is put together so well. I can't say that it is right now because, you know, we're busy. But I would spend a lot of time just going over to my neighbor's house and helping them organize. And then my husband said, you should start a business. And who knew that there would be a business that would take off and lead into helping a lot of seniors downsize and declutter. So most of the business is through helping seniors relocate.
All right, great. And this one, Mom, how did you get started in helping others to downsize?
Well, it happened quite a long time ago, just helping family and friends actually to make moves. And my mother-in-law, we actually moved her, I think 3 different times, and actually provided in-home 24/7 care for her for a while. I actually was a caregiver and a companion care. I actually went to nursing school, but I never pursued nursing. But I went and worked at a nursing home for 3 years after that. But so I've done a lot of different things that have been helpful to seniors. And when I was doing the companion care, there were sometimes they needed to move from independent living to an assisted living or sometimes skilled care. And so I was helping them and helping their family, helping them get them packed up, helping them make those kind of transitions. And when we had our antique mall, then we were having estate sales for people. We were helping dealers to, help them sell their treasures. And there's a lot of things in your home that you may have that you might think are not valuable. So make sure you have somebody qualified come and look at your stuff before you give them away or sell them or dispose of them, because some of those things that you throw away could actually be very collectible. But so that's kind of how I got started, and being in real estate also, it just kind of all came together. And so now we help sell your home, we help you with the decluttering process, or we usually get Wendy to help you with that. But we help with the estate sales and try to make it a one-stop shop for you so that you don't have to keep continually telling your story. And it just makes it a little bit easier if somebody is kind of the hub and setting up everything that you need to make that transition smoother.
Wendy, your business is really unique. Can you kind of explain what's the value of hiring you guys to do what you do, and what sets you apart?
I say that a lot of times people call and they say, well, we've talked to a moving company and they'll just they would pack up our items and then move it. Usually what happens in that case is that you have a moving company where the movers are the ones packing up. They'll put things in there that you might not need. So I always say a good example is that the average household has 52 coffee cups. Yes, 52 coffee cups. If you have 52 people drinking coffee in your home, then you can keep 52 coffee cups, right? So I always say, when you're moving or downsizing, usually it's into an independent living or assisted living. We help you go through and say, you're going to be drinking coffee when you have breakfast. And if you get up in the morning and drink coffee, you're not going to need 52 coffee cups, right? So we help you through the process. We help you handhold. We help you decide what to take, what you want to give to your kids, what your grandkids. Maybe you want to give your mower that the neighbor has been mowing your yard for 5 years. Maybe you want to give that to your neighbor. So now is a time that you think of the things to give away or to have an estate sale, or just help with the process. And I always say the first step is getting started. So we help you get started and really take into consideration. And we become those kids or the daughter that you didn't have, or your daughter's distant, or maybe you don't have the kids that can help you. So we kind of play in that part too.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel called out on that one. I think I've got like 10 coffee cups maybe that I use, and Probably a cupboard full of 50 other ones.
We need to organize TJ's house.
That's no joke. All right, Mom, what's the hardest part of downsizing?
Well, I'm going to ask you guys all what's the hardest part of downsizing. I think you all can probably answer that question much better than I can. How many of you are thinking about downsizing? Raise your hand. How many of you have downsized before? How many of you are going to downsize in the future? How many of you who are going to downsize know when and where and how you're going to downsize? One. Okay. Well, you come here and you answer these questions. But I think for most people, the hardest part about downsizing is making the decision to do it. We all think, oh, we need to do that, something that we need to do, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But there comes to a point and you know it's time. It may be even past the time. And some of these signs could be, you know, you're having a hard time getting up the steps. Or it's been a year or two since you checked the upstairs. Or it's been a year or two since you've been in the basement. You don't even know what's in there anymore, right? Or you have some rooms in your house. It doesn't have to be a 2-story home. You could just have a house that you have some rooms and all they're doing is collecting dust, right? And you're paying taxes and insurance and utilities to heat and maintain that home. So I think most of us know when it's time to downsize. But making that decision is sometimes the hardest part. Making that decision, and then like Wendy said, making the first step. Once you make that decision, it's really kind of funny because all of a sudden you need to move right away. You've made a decision. You need to find a place and you need to go. So it's just that first decision, I think, that's the hardest part.
Oh, great. Wendy, what is a room clean out? And what advice can you share on how you clean out a room?
So I always say, get started. And it's never, like Alicia said, it's never too soon. Never too soon. In fact, I think that there's some clients that we have that are young and they say, I want everything in totes or because I want to be able to grab and go and move. So it's never too soon. Okay, my question, clean out. So I always say that a room clean out, just get started. And how do you start? That's the first question. How do you start? I can't get past the crystal or the dishes or whatever because I don't know what I'm going to do with them. And I always say, well, just start with everything else. Start left to right, go through, do sections left to right. So the idea is that you donate trash, maybe you're going to sell it, give it away. Make the correct categories and make it really easy to get started. When we do an organization session, we usually have 2 people for 3 hours, and I always say we take everything out and go through left to right. We just get started. So, and that's a lot of time that people can't see that, or they call me and say, I retired 10 years ago, and every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to organize.
Right.
And now I decided I can't do it myself. I say it's like counseling too. You know, you got to make that decision that you're going to do it and get done, and do it before your health declines or somebody else makes that choice for you.
Well, maybe you can give me a little bit of advice. I think that everything in my house is worth a lot of money, or will be in the future. What's your advice for me?
Well, you might have to get somebody to do an estate sale for you. No. And TJ's in a transition where he has kids, so it seems like it kind of cycles through those transitions of grow with your home. You don't need things from 60 years ago when you had a formal Thanksgiving dinner and you use those china and crystal. Maybe that's something that you're not using right now. So, set up your home for what its purpose is for and used for. instead of just collecting things that you think, oh, I used to use it. Go forward. Think about what you need in the future.
So are those things in my house super valuable?
I don't want to come to your house and order. No, I'm kidding. They might be. They might be.
So I'm pretty sure that all of us have a lot of stuff that we think is probably really valuable and we want to hold on to it. Mom, can you speak from your experience? Is everything as valuable as we all think it is?
Well, sometimes it's more valuable than you think it is. Sometimes it was valuable to you while you used it and you got your good out of it, and now it's time to let go because you're not using it anymore, no matter how valuable it is. And there are some things that, will hold their value, and there's just some things that, they really aren't valuable anymore. So it just kind of all depends on really what it is. Usually, lots of times what we see are collections, and people want to sell their collection. Well, the thing about the collections is people collect because it's fun and it's an activity and it's something you do. So someone usually isn't going to come and buy your collection because they are collecting as well. They may buy one piece of your collection to fill their collection, but it's really hard to sell a collection of anything. So.
All right, great. Wendy, do you have a standout story that you can think of that you could share with us all?
Yes. I always say there's a couple great clients, and everybody you come across, I feel like happens in the first 6 months that you start your business and you question why you're doing this. But I helped a guy, and he in Lincoln, he's probably was in his 60s. His dad was in his 90s. He had some memory issues. His dad came from Sweden, and he was a doctor in Kansas. And so he opened up the garage and he said, this is all my dad's stuff that you and I are going to have to go through. So, it wasn't just one session, 3-hour session. It was that we met weekly for 3 hours and went through his stuff. And this guy, the son, is a lawyer. And so he was kind of investigating some things, I think. I mean, he didn't tell me, but we would go through his dad's stuff. And he said, I can't understand why my dad wrote a $500 check his entire life to somebody in Sweden. And he investigated it a little bit further and found out that he had a stepsister. Kind of fun, interesting story. Yeah, but people often say you should write a book because my stories go on, and we sit around at lunch and we talk about how different each client is. Everybody's different. Everything that you have might be more valuable to yourself, or you think it is, that you have that emotional connection to. And some people say, one guy told me today that he has his tax returns from, I think he said when he started his business. So I would guess 50 years. And I was like, well, you need to shred those things, right? He's like, no, I want my kids to see. I want my kids to see it. So yeah, just to go through those items, that was a sentimental attachment that he had to his item.
Mom, same question.
What was the question?
Do you have a story, like a standout story that you can think of?
About somebody downsizing? Well, I have an example for you. I was a caregiver for a couple, and they became kind of like parents to me after a while. They had just moved from their 2-bedroom bungalow out to Northgate, and they were there. I helped them for probably about 4 or 5 years there, and he had Parkinson's, and she just had some early dementia, nothing real too extreme, just kind of forgetful every once in a while. But we moved them from there to Gateway Manor, it was at the time, and in Gateway Manor they had an independent apartment upstairs, and it was beautiful, but Bill needed more care, so we moved Bill down to the assisted living and moved Jesse too, and then pretty soon Bill went into the skilled care, And then Jesse was in the assisted living, and then pretty soon Jesse joined him in the skilled care. So it's really important when you are thinking about downsizing to think about the future. And sometimes downsizing can be different things to different people, but depending on, you know, how old you are and maybe your medical conditions, you may want to start thinking about going someplace that can provide you care for all those different changes that you'll be going through. And so with them, for Bill and Jesse, I mean, we'd had them over. They would come to us for Thanksgiving. They came to my kids' graduation, and you know, they just became part of our family, really. So that's a fun story.
I think a combination story with Alicia and I is that she called me with a client that needed to go into Yankee Hill, or was going to IL, assisted or independent living at Yankee Hill Village, and she called me to connect with me, and she said, this poor lady, she just fell on the ice and broke her wrist. And I went to the consultation, and right after Alicia had been there, probably a couple days later, and she said, oh, Alicia, I fell when you were just coming in. And Alicia ended up taking her to the ER, and she ended up breaking her wrist in multiple places. And she's like, she just couldn't drive. You know, so I think that connection right there is that's who we are. We care about our clients, and she wanted to move. She was ready to move. She was going to have this wrist hold her back, but yeah, Alicia took into consideration of she took on that caregiving role as a real estate agent, which was great.
Wendy, this one's for you. How far in advance should we start planning a move?
Yesterday. Yeah, a lot of people wait, and then I always say the worst case, the best case for us is grandma falls and breaks her hip, and she goes into, you know, she's in rehab, and then we have to go to the rehab, and she is limited on places that she needs to be, that she can get into for assisted living, which is a really sad thing. Who else wants to, you know, I don't want to move into a community. Because I have too much stuff to go through. That's what everybody says, and majority of the people end up making them transition sometime. And I think it has to be reality that this is our transition of life, that this is what's going to happen. So, and it's a very positive experience when a move happens. It should be a fun, exciting time, and not be because you have a medical issue that's requiring you to go into a place that you didn't make that decision. So we just want to take that stress away from you, make it fun, make it before you have to go through that situation, and make that transition to make a positive experience.
And what are some good first steps? So if we're wanting to prepare to move, what are some first things that we can do?
I always say, you know, do your homework, go through, look at some, you know, if you're moving to another community, look at those communities. We have Oasis here that can help you with that transition. But then we have realtors, so there's a lot. You're in the right place because we have a community of people that can help through that process. So, and the connections, lots of connections. So I always say today, go home, clean out that front closet. 80% of what you have in your front closet, you haven't used in the last year, 80%. So go through that closet, tell me how many umbrellas that you get out of there. I'm sure today you didn't bring it, but you'd be surprised how many are in the back of your closet. So yeah, I always say just start, go through.
I don't know about you, but I think she's talking about me when she talks about the umbrellas. I think we have like 20 of them.
Just so you know, in my gift basket, I have an umbrella to give to you guys, because I thought it was going to rain. Last time, nobody had umbrellas when they left, so yeah.
Okay. Mom, what's the difference between downsizing and decluttering?
Well, that is a really good question. And how many people have used downsizing and decluttering in the same sentence? I'm going to declutter, I'm going to downsize. Well, downsizing and decluttering are two separate things, okay? So when you declutter, you're organizing, you're reducing your possessions and removing things that you no longer need or use, okay? Or things that are no longer wanted by you. And so your focus is more of organizing and managing, making your living space more manageable and more easy to live in. And it results in a cleaner home without so much clutter. You can get to things a lot easier. On downsizing, that's the process of actually moving to a smaller space, okay? Sometimes it's from a family home into a townhome or something like that, or to an apartment or a condo, but it's kind of right-sizing your space that you live in to fit your current lifestyle. So it could be moving from a 2-story home to a 1-story home, from a big 1-story home to a smaller 1-story home, or it could be moving from a 2-story home to the same square footage, but same square footage in a arrangement that you like better. A bigger kitchen, a bigger gathering area for when your family comes. And maybe only 1 or 2 bedrooms, because you maybe need a guest bedroom or an office and then a bedroom for yourself. So you can declutter without downsizing, but you can't downsize without decluttering. Okay?
So how do you know the difference between whether you need to downsize or whether you need to declutter?
Well, if you're having trouble getting up the stairs, if you have space that you've never seen, and they say leave a piece of a sticky tab on a room, on your spare bedroom or these extra rooms, and write down when you go in there, write the date, okay? The next time you go in there, if it's been 6 months, chances are it's time to downsize. You can tell when you need to declutter because your kids are saying, "What are you doing with all this stuff, Mom? I don't want this stuff. What are we going to do with this?" People start saying questions like that. Or, "Why do you have 52 coffee cups? Why do you have 20 umbrellas? Why do you have 12 sets of different kinds of dishes?" This is what my kids say to me. So those kinds of things will help you kind of sort out.
What about the, I know I've heard a lot of times where people are like, they're talking about how they want extra rooms in their house in case people come to visit. Is that a valid thing? What do you think about that?
Well, I would say that I have had a person visit me and stay at our house 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago. So also, I had a client that was moving into Landing, and she said, "I want a 2-bedroom because I want to have an extra bedroom." And I honestly say, okay, if that's going to cost you, I don't know how much it was. We'll just say $1,000 because that's $500,000. I don't know how much more it was. But if you think about how much that real estate is in your home or in a apartment or wherever, you could get somebody a hotel room by 100 times over for that. So I always say the best thing to do is if you are downsizing, moving, or if you're decluttering, use your space for what you want it to be. You don't need to have an extra bedroom for your kids that come every 2 years. You don't need, there's a lady that I moved into Savannah Pines, and she said, "Well, I have 20 grandkids, so they need a place to stay, to sit and come visit me." And I'm like, well, your lifestyle is changing. If you're gonna have Christmas dinner at Savannah Pines, you're not gonna have it in your 1-bedroom, 600 square foot apartment. No, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna have the dining hall. That's where you go. You go and have your family at in a room, at a conference room or whatever at the community.
Anything you have to add?
Well, I would also add that to that, the price of having that extra room, like Wendy said, that gets expensive. You're paying heat, you're paying utilities, you're paying taxes, you're paying insurance, you're paying to get it painted because now it's, sat for 10 years and no one's been in there and it's all dingy. So there's a lot of expenses going along with that. And yeah, you can put them up in a really nice hotel room. And there's a lot of the senior living communities that have guest rooms that you can actually rent right there. So you've got it all built in. And, so what if the kids have to sleep on the floor? Have a slumber party, make it fun, right?
Some of the communities provide that service for family too, at no cost. So that's good to know. I also say when we're doing a session or when we're getting ready for somebody to downsize and move, I always say we kind of pocket in our 3 hours. It might start 6 weeks before, but we'll go through the basement because I say a lot of things go down there to die. So we're gonna bury those items outside of your house, and we would take them away to donate them or to trash or what. We usually end up donating them, but we'll start right with your basement where the things you're not using. Then we'll go to the garage because that's the second place things go to die, and go through your garage. And then the day before a move is when we're usually dealing with the kitchen, your 4 spaces that you live in, your kitchen, your bedroom, your master bath, and then your living room. Those are the 4 things you use 80% of the time. All the rest of them, you want to know if the heat is even working in those rooms.
What, do you have any specific advice or like special advice for seniors that are that they could do while they're downsizing?
Just do it again. Just do it. I don't know. Yeah, just start left to right, go through, and maybe even get, if you don't have us as a service, you might find a buddy system where you say, okay, I'm going to come help my friend go through her desk, and then have the friend come over and switch off. So that's a great way that you keep on task, and you can check on each other too. One thing when we do a organizing session, we usually say, okay, we're going to check back with you, after a week, and see if you actually read those magazines from the 70s that you thought you were going to read. So you have some homework. So I always say, let's put it in a pile and let's have some homework, and you have a week to go through it. And yes, and if anybody goes through those piles, I will be like, okay, this is an amazing day. We need to have a party, because it never happens.
And those magazines from the 70s are worth something.
Not that much.
Those National Geographics?
Sometimes some people collect National Geographic.
I would have people raise their hands if they had National, but I'm not going to do that to you.
Okay, I will. How many of you have National Geographics? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Or the old encyclopedias from the 70s.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
I have a set of those. My kids use them to cut out pictures now. But,
It's all up to date. You don't need Google, you just go back to the 70s.
Yeah. Oh, funny story. When I started high school, we had that's what we had was the encyclopedia set, and I was getting some questions wrong in high school because I was basing all of my answers off of our encyclopedia set that was about 40 years older than so. Anyways, so yeah, encyclopedia sets, you probably don't need to hold on to those unless you have grandkids that are cutting pictures out. This one's for my mom. How can I decide what will fit in my new home or apartment if I'm downsizing?
Well, and I'm sure Wendy has seen people trying to cram too much into their new living quarters. You got to remember, you're downsizing, you're right-sizing, so you're probably not going to have room for that really big couch or that really beautiful big coffee table and some of those things that you have. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can take pictures and see how your new furniture is going to fit in. You can actually, get a diagram, a floor plan. We can help you with that. Wendy's really good at that too, of making a floor plan and measuring your couches and kind of putting it out on paper before you actually move in to see if it'll fit. And then there's the third way of moving everything there and not being able to move around and having to move it out or buy new furniture once you get there because it doesn't fit. So it's always easier if you plan for it before. And then, lots of times if you're moving, I always say the best way to do it is to move first and then keep your house and keep your stuff and then bring what you can. And maybe this couch doesn't fit, you have to bring it back. Or if you haven't measured, or maybe the love seat does fit there. So at least you have that stuff at home that you can kind of, take some, give some, back and forth so that you make sure it fits before you actually have a sale and get rid of everything.
Wendy, is that something you've ever run into where people have brought stuff that doesn't fit into the place they're downsizing?
Oh, all the time. There's a lot of people that are not visual. So I always say, I am an interior designer. That's what I went to school for. So I feel like when we meet with a client, the consultation, they're like, what's gonna fit? And I always say, let's do this a little bit backwards in your mind. Let's go through everything. Like if you have 5 hutches full of dishes, hopefully that's not what we're gonna take with us. But, what do you really want? And then let's figure out what furniture you need to hold the items that you want to take with you. So, ideally, let's take 1 hutch full of the china that you got when you were married. And the rest of them, we're going to sell or donate. So we can help figure out what furniture that you need and place it. Most of the communities too, they have floor plans and layouts, cater to a lot of people, but that in the 60s, they had the couches that were 110 inches long and it's 5 inches off the floor. Those kind of furniture, that's probably not what you want in your new location. So then we kind of talk through all that and figure out, okay, what ideally do I need to take? Do I want to take anything? I had one client, I was like, this is amazing. I want to be this person. The only thing she took is her closet, and she's like, I'm getting everything else new. So good for her. She had no attachment to any of the possessions. And I was like, this is the way that we all need to live. And none of us can. We're just so attached to our material items. Yeah.
I don't know if it's time for questions yet or not, but I've got one.
Okay.
How do you suggest we get rid of it? Do we give it to kids, grandkids and stuff? Do we give it to some kind of a Salvation Army or something like that? Or do we sell it? How do we
Just
get
give
rid
it
of
away to whoever. I always say, people call me, I get 3 times a week. What usually people get this wall when they say, I have 6 sets of dishes, and what should I do with the dishes? And I say, do you have grandkids? Yeah, I have a grandson that's 19, give it to him. Oh, he doesn't want it, right? Right? You probably have all asked your kids the same question, and maybe they don't want it, maybe they do. And I think, if they do want it, that's great, but do you want to put all of your stuff in their house? Do you want to give them all of your stuff and then for them to live with all your stuff plus their stuff? It's just causing a hoarding situation, right? So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Give it to somebody. If they don't want it, try to give it to somebody else. Have an estate sale. Give it to, there's multiple lists. I can also provide you with donation places. There's probably over 50 different donation places that would love to have donation items. Maybe you have a connection with, maybe you're Catholic. You want to donate it to Catholic Social Services. Maybe you love Pastor Tom and his mission at People City Mission. we can, take it there. So, and as a service with us, what we usually do is a session. At the end of the session, we do bring our cargo vans, and whatever we can fit in our van, as long as it's not furniture, we will take it free of charge to a donation site. Then you don't have to look at it, think about it, or touch it one more time. Usually a person touches their donations at least 4 times before getting rid of it.
How do we get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah,
Donovan,
we have
he's
a
got
booth.
table out there.
Yeah, we have a booth, so yes.
I didn't see it, I guess. Nor did I.
All right, we're gonna kind of piggyback off of that. Mom, what do we do with items like antiques, jewelry, or collections, valuables?
Well, if you don't have anybody that you want to give them to, or nobody that really wants them, you can always sell them. You can sell them at a garage sale for $1, or you can actually sell them, you can have an estate sale person come in and sell it. And usually a good estate sale person will know the value of things, or how to look up the value of things, so that you can get, some money for your things. You could, rent a booth at an antique mall and become an antique dealer yourself if you wanted to. There's eBay that you can sell things on. There's other online options. And sometimes for little things like if you have jewelry and things like that, that would be an easy kind of little side business that you could actually do. But I think for most people, having an estate sale would probably make more sense if you have some valuable things. There's always Facebook Marketplace, and that's a great place to sell things on. You just want to make sure that if someone's coming to your home to pick something up, that you have somebody else there. It's usually pretty safe in Lincoln, but you just never know. But there are all those different avenues where you can sell it, and sometimes you need the money, or if you don't want the hassle of selling it, you can take it to some consignment places or pawn shops. They'll even buy some things from you.
Wendy, what about the things that are of sentimental value to us, that that just mean a lot to us? How do we let go of those types of things?
Oh, that's a hard question. I always say, okay, you want to keep it? Perfect. We'll pack it up and we'll take it. And then sometimes it's where we see a whole mountain of boxes and say, okay, is this really what I want? Is this what is sentimental? But I there's always those things. There's pictures. There's your grandfather brought it over from Germany, whatever the case might be. Maybe you just have a box of people in the past, keepsake boxes that mean a lot to you. We also usually say, okay, we can go around people's homes, and pictures are usually not in one spot. We might find pictures on mirrors, we find pictures on the fridge, we find pictures in desk drawers. So we usually end up saying, okay, we're taking all the pictures and we're gonna put it in a tote or put it in a box. And then there is always that room in the back of your closet for those sentimental things. So yeah, you don't have to get rid of everything, just keep what you think is the most valuable. And it might be where we go through a person that passed away, items, and we're saying, okay, I just want one box. Okay, well, we'll go through that. We'll go through it.
I have something about that emotional attachment that we have to some of our things. I had a client one time, and she had to, because of a health reason, she ended up having to go to a skilled care, and all of her things were packed up for her, and all those decisions were made for her. And that was really hard because she had some of those very sentimental things. She had things from her parents and her grandparents and special people in her life. And she said it wasn't so much the letting go of it. I knew I had to let go of it at some time, but because I ended up here and somebody else packed it for me, I didn't get to touch it one last time and say goodbye. So for you, sometimes you just need to make that and say goodbye and touch it one last time, or take a picture of it so that you have a memory of it.
I have one more story. I have a story too. I helped this client, it was several years ago, and we were going through her basement, and I think that she fell, and hurt her knee or something, so we're going through cleaning out her basement because she is going to go to independent living. And we go through a box of her childhood, and what was really interesting, it had a Sainie's birth when she was born, and it said total $15, it was just handwritten. And she was like 88, so probably now she would have been 100, right? So that was really it neat to see, and so we reminisced about it, and she's like, I don't know why I'm keeping it, but it's kind of neat to see it, right? So we threw it away. And then the next thing was a belt, and it was her dad's belt. And she started crying, and she said, that's the belt my dad spanked me with. I said, why in the world are you keeping that? And she said, I have not told anybody that. Get rid of it. Like, that's all you needed, was just to tell somebody why she was holding on to something like that. And I was like, you don't need to hold on to anything that causes you pain, or, yeah. So it was just interesting.
Well, and I will say, so I have kind of an experience too, where I think that sometimes we should be aware of who we have value our things if we have valuable things that we're wanting to part with. Back in high school, I worked at a pawn shop, and there was this one time where we had a woman come in who had a guitar case. It was an old Gibson guitar case. She brought it in, set it up. I was I'm a guitar guy, so I was really anxious to see what she had. And it was, when she pulled it out, it was a 1957 Gibson Les Paul, just in mint condition. And so I was kind of excited, kind of afraid to touch it because I knew it was really valuable. Asked her what the story was, and she had said that, this was a guitar that she had gotten, back in the early 60s, back in when she lived in Austin. She planned on learning to play guitar. She bought it for a few $100. Planned on learning guitar, never did, and it had just sat underneath her bed for the entire time. So valued it out, and the guitar was worth about $15,000. Yeah. So talks to my boss in the back about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, cool," And he comes out, and he was like, "Well, ma'am, we're really proud to be able to, we can offer you $3,000 for this." So. And so she was like, okay. She was like, oh, cool. She was excited because it was so much more than what she had paid for it. And so she goes, my boss was like, oh, write up the paperwork. And that's when I almost lost my job because I closed the case and I was like, ma'am, you might want to take it somewhere else, And she was gone before he had come back out of the back. He was like, well, where'd she go? Oh, I don't know. She changed her mind. I think he knew better. He warned me after that one. But so just be careful on those super valuable things or things that you might not even know that they're valuable. I think it's important for somebody who knows what they're looking at to come in, maybe to your house, to kind of see, just to check things out for you sometimes. I guess my next question, I'm gonna go with Wendy. What if I regret getting rid of something? So what if I give away something or something like that and I regret it?
I think you can't turn back. Go forward, I think there's a lot of people that dwell on things that they miss out of their past. And it's easy to say material items, maybe to blame things on material items. So I always say, just go forward, Sometimes, we have a service contract basically saying that anything that you give us permission to donate, we will take away. And every once in a while, somebody will call and say, and that's a day that we all slam on the brakes and say, oh no, and one client, she had some, a little bit of memory, and I was like, are you sure you want to give away these green glasses from the 70s? And she had 3 of them. And that's what she held on to the whole time, and I was like, okay, if we gotta go forward, we just have to do it, we have to go forward, so. No regrets, don't let the past have any regrets, go forward, do what's right for you in this moment.
Awesome. Is there anything that we can do to where we can, collections and stuff like that? Is there anything that we can do to where we can still kind of hold those memories or be able to remember those collections without holding on to them?
Yeah, I always say, they always say take pictures of things and create a memory. I also tell people that at holiday gathering, just bring a tote of, a tote of your past, high school age or whatever. Go through it and share those memories with your family, because that's ultimately why we're keeping them, is because they're memories. Share the memories and maybe somebody will take them. But if they don't, then you've already shared it and you've gone on. So, yeah.
I know.
One thing I can add to that, if you do have those collections, take those with you to those family things. And maybe if you have a bunch of grandkids, give each one something out of that bag. And it's going to be much more special having it come from you and having you hand that to them. Later on when you're gone, they're going to remember that. And that's going to be a lot more special to them than, oh, I grabbed this at Grandma's house as a remembrance.
I would also add to that, though, that if you give people something, you don't ask for it back. And whatever you do with it, whatever they do with it, you need to give them permission to say, I want you to have this, but, and whatever you do with it, I'm not going to ask for it back, and I don't expect you to display it. So, yeah, because often, I want to say my generation, it's that, we have our parents come to and say, oh, what happened to that whatever that I gave you at Christmas time? And they give you decorations that causes your storeroom to explode. So yeah, and maybe it's not somebody that decorates seasonal. And they might not want it, but they just say, don't tell me what you're gonna do with it, just take it.
It sounds like you have a story that goes with the whole asking for stuff back. Is there a story behind saying
Well,
that?
I would have to say my parents are in the room, so I can't say that directly, but my mom has given me things, and I'm like, don't ask for any of it back. Don't ask me what I do with it. I'm in control of it now. That's my story.
I had an aunt and she didn't have any children, so I was kind of like a daughter to her, and she would give me things. And she would come to my house looking for them. Where's this? Where's that? It's like she had a list. And it's like, so I always had to have those on display. But that's something you probably don't know.
Okay, so I know that at least me, I always have this idea in my mind that like when I get to the point to where I'm gonna downsize and declutter all of my stuff, or one or the other, that I'm either gonna like mark everything to go to specific people, or like have had the idea to where maybe I'll just let all my kids someday come in my house and grab what they want. What is your advice on how to go about that whole section of things to maybe prevent conflict?
Oh, so I just did a consultation last week, and this lady had a hutch in every room of her house. I think she had 12. And she said to me, I'm gonna have my kids here at Christmas. They all are distant. They all have to have a plane ticket to come, so they're probably not gonna take. I'm just gonna have them go and shop through my stuff. And I said, I think a better option is to get it out. Everything that you have behind a hutch, closed doors, that's off limits. We were all raised not to touch the china. As a child, I will not go to my parents' house and touch their china, because that's what I was told not to touch, right? So when we get it out for them and they can actually touch it and see it, and it's not behind the hutch, it's a much easier way for them to take things. And sometimes I'm like, the one story I had this guy, and he had lost his wife. We were at Savannah Pines and we were moving, downsizing, and she had Crystal, and they had hutches in their apartment, and the son came and he goes, well, where is your wife? And she goes, oh, she's getting her hair done. So you know that she didn't want anything to do with this stuff. And I think his name was Mark, the son. And I said, Mark, all of this stuff is yours. And you should have seen him. He was like backpedaling as much as he could and I was like, I'm just kidding. Whatever you want, we will box up for you. So, sometimes if you say, all those 12 hutches, they're yours, your kids will be gone, right? So let's do it. Let's make it a little bit easier for them to go through, lay it out for them. Say, let's put it out on the dining room table right before dinner. We're going to go through all this. So, yeah.
And one mistake that we see often is people think, well, I'm going to rent a storage garage and put a bunch of stuff in here, and if I don't need it, then I'll get rid of it later. We just did a sale for someone who had stuff in storage over 3 years. I mean, that cost $10,000 to save stuff that she never used again. So, it might be hard, but get rid of your stuff.
I've never thought about the you talked about the China hutch or the China cabinets. I think I've been to estate sales where they keep stuff in the China cabinets, and I think psychologically, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna scan over that stuff because I can't go in there.
I don't know if it's our generation though. I don't know if it's just that's how we were told as children, this is fragile stuff, you can't touch it.
That's interesting. I've never thought about that. Mom, how do I trust people, or who can I trust when I'm going through all this stuff? How do I trust somebody?
Well, there are people that you should trust, and there are going to be people that you really shouldn't trust. One thing is, what's their motive for helping you? What's their motive for pricing something? Is it because they're going to buy it themselves? So if they have, that's kind of a conflict of interest. If you're going to have somebody that's going to put a value on something and they're going to buy it from you, chances are that's not going to be a true value. You can get all kinds of people to come in and give you independent decisions and valuations of what you have. As far as getting someone to trust in your home, talk to people, get references. I know with all of our educational partners out here, you can't just come to me and say, I want to be an educational partner. You have to sit down, you have to talk to me. We have to find out how you work your business before I invite you to be an educational partner here. So all these people are out here are because they are good people, they're honest, they're trustworthy, they're hardworking. When they say they're going to do something, they will do it, and they'll show up, and they aren't going to gouge you. So that's my criteria for having educational partners. And each one of us educational partners, we have a circle of businesses that we know and we like and we trust to use them. And it all comes down to, if we're not referring people to you that we can trust, their reputation becomes our reputation at the same time. So ask around, ask people that you know, and sometimes that'll give you a really good clue as to who you can actually trust to get the job done and do it right.
Oftentimes people ask, like they'll say, well, I don't know what moving company to hire. And I'm like, well, we have people that we would refer you to, and we can line that up. But the easiest referral is from referral partners. And I always say, somebody will say, well, how did you get my name? And then they'll say, oh, I got it from Alicia, and then I got it from Tanya at Oasis, and then I called MHC Moving and got it from the moving company. I'm like, wow, she said, so you must be the person that needs to be contacted for this.
Great. How long does the decluttering and or the downsizing process, either or, how long does each one of those usually take?
Well, I always say that our specialty is the person that is maybe they're in rehab and now they're getting discharged. The social worker, you know, of course, has to give you that okay to discharge you. And so now I have to move to an assisted living in 2 weeks. And we're like, oh boy, we got to get this done because we care. And what is this person going to do? They're not going to be private paying they're at rehab for another month. So I always say that a good length of time is usually a month, 6 weeks. And then, of course, we want to pocket it in, like I said, into different sessions. So we're not the company that will come the day before and pack up everything and then move you the next day. And then you decide that you're stressed out and you end up in the hospital or something. So we've had that happen before, and we just try to make this the most simple transition of moving. But usually I say a good length of time is 6 weeks. Then we can get Alicia on board to put the house on the market, and it's boom, boom, boom. And then you're at a community playing bingo, going to their happy hour, playing pool, whatever it takes. And you don't even have to think about it. And lots of times at those communities, those people are around a table and they'll say, oh yeah, I've had my other house for 2 years, I just can't get through the items. And that's just heartening because they're paying two different places. And I'm like, let's get it done. Let's get it done so you can enjoy your next, I want to say season, but your next phase of your life.
Well, same question. What about from the real estate and maybe estate sale end?
Well, I know how long it should take, but how long it really takes is really up to every person, every individual. I know some people take 5 to 10 years to downsize. I know, and I've downsized myself. We had a big 5-bedroom house, and my husband and I were like, we'd go to bed at night and look on the other side of the house. It's like, somebody else live over here? We never come over here. And so, we downsized twice. And so it's not always because, of a health reason, but it might just because your house no longer fits your lifestyle. We didn't have the kids coming in and their friends and all the relatives coming to visit anymore. We didn't need that big house. But it doesn't have to take a long time. But once you make that decision, yeah, I'm going to do this, you can usually get it done. I say realistically, a comfortable time frame would be 3 to 6 months. Once you've made that decision and you know where you're going, I think that's a real doable. But of course, like Wendy said, sometimes it's going to be a smaller time frame because it's just got to get done.
How important is it from the real estate side? How important is it to have somebody helping you who understands the downsizing process?
Well, with our team, I know we don't want it to feel like it's a transaction. We want this to be a transition, and we want this to be something that everybody looks forward to. And I know there's a big connotation, even just the word downsizing, the word down kind of is a downer, right? You have so much to look forward to. You're moving to a new place, you have new activities, you're going to make new friends, you're going to have a whole new circle of activities and friends and things and people to get to know, and it's going to be a good positive thing. And so everybody wants to look back, but I say when you're downsizing and you're going somewhere, whether it's to a smaller home or independent living or to visit and move closer to your kids in another state, look forward, and that'll motivate you to get you there faster, and you'll enjoy more time there instead of regretting not going there sooner.
Great.
Jim, I need to leave. Will you turn this in?
Wendy, another kind of thing that I've thought about is, you know, if some people here have had, you know, have items that are from a spouse or somebody that we're really close to that they've lost, you know, what do you say about those types of things?
Well, always that is an emotional time. So, you know, when I do a consultation course, sometimes we have tears because there's some loss, and now we have to make that transition. And then when people call and say, you know, my spouse passed away a couple months ago, I always say, do you think you're ready for this? Because there's a whole grieving process that needs to take place. And what happens is if somebody is moving into, they're not clearly thinking, and they might say things that they don't know why in 2 or 3 years that they kept. So I always say like 2 or 3 years is a good length of time, because those things, those clothes that you might have packed up and put in the basement, we often say, why did we do that? Why didn't we take them, donate them right away? Well, it's because there was a grieving process that had to go on with. So items relate to grief, and sometimes the items that are left from our spouses or kids or what our wives or husbands, it might be those things are left for a reason, and it just is a trigger point. So my goal is to not have any of that for my kids to go through, because I don't want them to feel grieving or feel connected. I did have one client, and she had, we probably are at that generation where some of you are retired veterans, and you had letters back and forth to your spouses or to families, and you saved those letters because they were emotional connection at that time. I had a client, and she was cleaning out her mom's things, and she had trash bags. I don't know why trash bags, because that just doesn't seem very respectful, but whatever. She had 6 trash bags full. And the daughter lived in like an 800 square foot house. And she said, my problem is I can't park my car in my garage because I have all these letters that my mom and dad sent to each other, you know, it was probably World War II, but they sent each other. And I feel obligated to read them all. And I was like, well, you don't have to read them all. You don't have to. But it was a really hard thing to go through. And I just think, you know, kind of a little bit of shame on the mom. She had no idea that her daughter would be grieving so much, trying to figure out how to get rid of those letters. And it is. There's little things that you have that are just going to make it harder for your family to grieve.
So just kind of got to push through it sometimes. And let the grieving process happen. Okay. Mom, does anyone ever regret moving or downsizing?
Well, typically, I would say 99% of the time, people say they do regret, but they don't regret moving. They regret not doing it sooner, okay? The other 1% those are the people that feel that the decision was made for them and they weren't involved in the decision. My son just thought I should come here and they put me here. Those are the ones that usually regret being there. So to help you avoid regret, make the decision yourself and decide what you want to do while you're still in control. And if you want to stay there, stay there. Make sure you have the care lined up to take care of you should you need it. There's options. You don't have to move. You can downsize in your own home. And there's ways to do that too and age in place. So Aging in place isn't so much staying in the home you're in, but it's aging in a place that suits you and your lifestyle and your current condition. And it's not just aging in place, but it's actually thriving in place. You have a lot of good years ahead of you. You need to be happy, and your life needs to be full. So, yeah, don't regret not moving sooner.
In your experience, when people wait too long, what typically happens when they need to move?
Well, like Alicia said, people are making decisions for you. I mean, you have medical, social workers are making decisions all the time. The community's environment is making that decision of, what's open in a community that you could need to, if you have a medical issue or something. And your kids, they might see, okay, mom and dad they really need help. Mom keeps on falling, and what are we gonna do? And I would say that this weekend, yesterday, was a very busy day for me, because what happens on a 3-day weekend? You have your kids come and visit, and then what do? They call me in panic mode. My mom fell this weekend, I think she's just declining, and what are some options, that we need to be looking at. But yeah, and like Alicia said, it might be something where you just get everything in place in your home, and so you can age in place, and you don't have to deal with maybe you just make some modifications in your home where you don't have the stairs, or you don't have that trip hazard of the rug, those kind of things. But just so you can live there and be taken care of.
Has there been things that you were surprised about? And this will be, I'll let either one of you go, but I'll ask both of you the same question. In the process of downsizing, has there been anything that you were surprised about? Like a time where something really surprised you?
I think just in my experience, just like talking what Alicia said, it's all about timing. People think that they're not going to age, and it's just like, and Susan's not here, but we did have a client that went from assisted living to independent living because he did so great, and that really surprised me, because that's not very often that we do that. But I think the reality is that we all are aging, and what is our next step to make us thrive? And how can we make that happen?
I would say there was one case where I was really surprised. And we all have a different perception of how well we're getting along and how well we're doing. But we had a client who had called us. His neighbor had actually called me because I was referred to him to help him. And by the time I got a hold of him, we were talking to him over the phone. We had made an appointment. He said, well, don't come for 2 weeks. I'm not even sure that, I really needed to go someplace to live. And he didn't make it there in the 2 weeks. He was actually transferred to the hospital. But come to find out, he'd been living in his living room, in his recliner that he hadn't left for almost 2 weeks. He had animals in his house. A tree had fallen on his house, and who knows, we don't even know how long the tree had fallen in. So, it's all a matter of perspective, and sometimes you don't see what's right in front of you. And if somebody's saying, hey mom, it's time to move, or I think we should go look, maybe they're trying to gently convince you or make suggestions that will actually help you. So if someone's starting to say things to you like that, kind of pick up on that clue and start that conversation, and let them actually help you.
What about, I've heard it quite a few times where people say, well, I'm too old to downsize. I'm just, I'm where I'm at, and this is where I'm gonna stay. What would you guys say to that?
There's not much you can say because they made their decision. I mean, lots of times this has to be a decision that you have to make, or, and like we talked about, we don't want other people to make that decision for you. But yeah, a lot of people say, I really expected me to just live in my house, and I did not want to leave my house. They're married to their house. Lots of memories in your house. Lots of memories to the items in your house. But, I have a lady that we're moving next week, and she has a sunken living room, and she keeps on falling on the steps. And I don't even know how she's surviving, because she's just bruised up all over. But, I think we all have to make that choice.
And I don't think you're ever too old for anything, right? We're not getting any older, we're getting better, right? We're improving like just a bottle of wine. So it's never too late to change your mind and make a decision that's gonna be for your betterment.
And I'll tell you, a lot of these communities, even like the Sage, Tabitha Sage, it's 55. I have 5 more years. I'm moving in that place. I don't want to cook. I don't want to clean. I don't want to mow my lawn. So right there, you might see me if you move in there in 5 years. I got to get my son graduated first.
What are some, and this one's kind of for Wendy, what are some trends or seasons during your 15 years of being in the industry that you see?
Oh, yes. I would say a trend is that you all are in that, I don't want to say baby boomer age maybe, and a lot of these baby boomers were going around to estate sales buying these crystal dishes, those kind of things, right? And now we have a new trend where, I heard somebody say, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Like, I don't want it. I'm the next generation. So I just feel like there's a lot of people, saying that they have all these antique, hutches, furniture, all these things, dining room tables. We can't even get them away anymore just because nobody has a dining room. They all have, or office, roll top desks. The people that were collecting them that want them are these baby boomers. And the Generation X, Y, they don't want a roll top desk.
So moving is one of the top 5 most stressful times in someone's lifetime. That's the kind of the statistic. Explain the other stresses and how you help to reduce
Alicia can
that.
help with that.
I'll get a new battery. Yes.
Alicia can help with that too. So I always say that moving, there's 5 stresses. And moving is a big stress, right? What are the other stresses? Health, death, divorce, relocation. So usually when we're dealing with a move, we are dealing with 2 different things, and at least 2. So it might be death and health. You might lose a spouse, and then your health is declining, and then you have to move. Those are huge. Those are big stressors, and it's a hard time in your life to be doing this. So the transition and the hand-holding and just having that support from a team is really important.
I'll trade Lex.
Yeah, I think,
I'll trade it.
can you hear?
I'll trade it.
You like that one better?
I hold it a lot closer.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the top 5, and there's all those other little stresses too. You can have, that kind of happen in between all those big 5 stresses. So, trying to find sometimes the right time to move or to downsize or start thinking about that. If everything's going pretty smoothly right now, let's just throw a little stress on there. Let's get you moved, okay?
All right, I think we're gonna open it up for questions. I will be I'll come around and hand you the mic. So.
I have a comment.
Is this on?
It is.
I have a comment about love letters. I have a bunch of love letters that I have just been involved with currently, and I'm going to get rid of them before any of my children see them. I would advise everyone to read them, love them, and shred them.
Very good.
Steamy stuff.
Do you have a list of places we can take different things to get rid of them?
Yes, we have an updated donation list, and you can, I don't know if I have very many, but you can stop by our table and I'd be happy to give you a list. Or you can also email me and I can share that with you. Also has the times, the dates, the drop-offs, the location, the items that they'll take, you know.
Wendy, your services, is that one lump sum? Or can we get you to come maybe just to look at some of our things to see if there's any antique in there or any value? Or portions?
Yes, so Alicia would be the one to sell the items, so she can always look at them. We offer free consultation, so if somebody's gonna move or downsize. We also offer like organizing sessions, so it might be just a morning or afternoon session. This afternoon, we're working on organizing somebody's kitchen. She got a remodeled kitchen, so we're gonna put her kitchen back together.
I just have a comment, especially like donation lists, places to donate. When we were helping my mom that was 96 years old move from her home finally into an assisted living, it was really hard for her, and I think this is a very common thing, to know that it was going somewhere where it would be helpful. That's huge for a lot of people. And in recent months, I have become aware of some places that I think would meet that need. There are multiple different sober living houses. I know it's kind of a controversial thing in the media, but this is a place where women or men live for a while after they've gone to treatment, and a lot of times furniture, clothes, whatever, they need all kinds of things. There's one called Oxford House. There are other ones. There are houses where, because of domestic violence, victims go to, and that would seem to meet that need of, oh, this is gonna be used, it's really gonna be helpful to someone, and then that makes it easier to give up and donate those things that you obviously, or I obviously, really are not using.
Yeah, I have a list of some places, but also we know, like, I have the Friendship Home call me. Now I think it's called a Daisy, but they call me about every other week and say we have a domestic case where we just need some bedroom furniture. Now, when I say those places, or Bridges of Hope, people coming out of prison, that they are building those tiny homes, that tiny home village, and they are 600 square feet. They're not gonna want that hutch that is 250, maybe 2,000 pounds. They don't want that. They don't want that, Craftsman dresser that's big. They want small things. They don't want the queen size bed. You giving out your queen size bed is a hard thing, or king size. They're not looking for those. They're looking for small furniture items. No dining room tables.
My question is, what do we do with VCR tapes of Roots and all those ones we used to tape in the 60s? And also, what do we do with encyclopedias?
Well, I can tell you that Rockport camera, we've taken lots of DVDs or videos there to convert them. Some people keep their VCR and their tapes, but watch them, enjoy them, and then get rid of it. That would be my advice.
You had mentioned selling things on Facebook and Lincoln Sign. Also, if you have a camera on your phone, you can take a picture of the item and then go to Google Lens and it will give you values of that item. People do it at consignment sales all the time or estate sales. Another thing, if you're going to give those teacups away to your family members, write the story. Write the story of why it's important, because actually that story may be way more important than the teacup. And if you invite them into your home and say, take anything you want, and they take nothing, don't feel bad. Because it brought you joy, but maybe they're just at a point in their lives where they don't want it. So just appreciate where they are and what they've given to you in their lives, but don't feel bad.
I have an idea of one thing that has not been addressed, and that is military memorabilia. We have found that veterans organizations, military museums, all kinds of places like that like to have that stuff because it is historical. Don't throw it away. Write your story, put it with the item, and donate it somewhere so that somebody else can enjoy it and learn from it.
Also, military items bring lots of value, so yes.
I just have a story on Marketplace. I tried to put dining room table and hutch on Marketplace. Be careful, because I had several people contact me and they wanted to buy it, but they wanted to do it through Venmo or a digital money thing, and find out that it was going to be bogus. What they were planning on doing was paying me more for the item than they wanted me to give back the extra. So then they were going to make money, and I was going to be out. So I'm just saying, be careful when you are working with something like that, with Marketplace or something online.
Yeah, so that scam is something that people are kind of doing, where they are like, oh, I know you're offering, or you're asking for $200 for this, but I'll give you $1,000, and then you know, you can take the shipping and all the other fees out of it and just send me back a couple $100 off of that. Well, what they end up doing is they'll put the money into your Venmo or whatever account they want to. Then you'll give them that money that they asked for back, and then they'll request a refund or take that money back out of your account right away. So really be aware of those different scams that are going on for sure. Any other questions?
When hiring a moving company, just make sure when putting down a deposit, don't ever give somebody anything more than like their hourly rate up front. You should never pay anything more than, if their hourly rate is $150, don't give them anything more than that up front. And if they have a contract, if it's anything more than maybe like 3 or 4 pages, really consider what you're signing. And, you know, also ask them if they are a locally owned company or if they're a broker. But, you know, if you're working with somebody like Wendy, she's going to refer you to a company that she's tried and true and used several times. So, but that's just kind of some way to make sure that you're not going to hire a company. I've had people call me and say that they put $2,000 down as a deposit. and it broke my heart to hear, and that's happened several times. So just make sure that you're not doing something like that and trying to protect yourself in that way.
I think there was one more up here.
Can you give me any information on the downsizing club?
Yes, yes.
Yes, we do have a downsizing club. We have several members in here today, and we meet the third Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock. And you'll see there's a flyer on the Nebraska Real Estate Specialty Group table, and you're all welcome to join the downsizing club and join us. We have a curriculum that we go through, and we talk about what we're doing. We have goals that we try to reach, and it's kind of gotten to be a fun little club.
Yeah. Okay, so my mic got really loud now. So also I want to make sure that we get out the word that we are taking ambassadors for Savvy Seniors. We want help to promote Savvy Seniors to people to place flyers where they're at, invite friends. If you're interested in helping out with that, after this is over, we're going to meet at a back table for about 5 minutes. So if you guys want to, if you're interested in that, then stay for that. Make sure that you register for the next seminar. The next one, what is the next one? Is Medicare. So that's going to be a really good one, so make sure to register for that. Also, you can find us on Facebook. We have a website, anysavvyseniors.com. So check that out. And then we also have a flyer, too, that shows you when all the different Savvy Senior seminars are and what they're about. So my mom had mentioned Downsizing Club is every third Wednesday of the month. This month it's on the 17th. So make sure to take all of this information that we just gave you and that you just heard, and come to that Downsizing Club, become a part of it, and start working on that on those downsizing goals, or even the decluttering goals. So we're having the Downsizing Club. It's at the Nebraska Realty Building. It's off of it's used to be Highway 2, but it's Nebraska Parkway now, right off of 84th and Nebraska Parkway. So it's going to be on the northwest corner of.
And we meet at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 84th and Highway.
Right, Judy? 1 o'clock, 1:30?
1:30, I believe.
1:30. 1:30? Okay. All right.
In case you guys are wanting to write down the address, it's 7321 Plaza Court.
Yeah, you're all welcome. Just give me a call so I know how big a room to get next time.
Yeah, 7321.
1 o'clock. Judy says it's 1 o'clock.
Plaza Court. Okay. We do have our Savvy Seniors Travel Adventures. We don't have a date set coming up quite yet. We're actually looking for a
new travel
agent. So stay tuned for that. Now we're going to take our time to introduce our educational partners. So I'm going to ask that all of our educational partners line up to tell us what they do.
And while they're lining up, make sure that you have your evaluation filled out. There's a front and back to fill out on there. And if you would like a free consultation, all of our educational partners have agreed to give you one. Just circle that company that you would like a free consultation with, and they will get you in contact with them. So everybody's going to come out right now and tell us a little bit about themselves.
And while they line up, now, I don't know if we have enough for everybody that has brought a friend today, but we will see. So raise your hands if you brought a friend so I can bring you a free gift. Okay, good. We have enough.
Hi everyone, my name is Reagan. I am with the Alzheimer's Association.
What I do is that we have the Walk to End Alzheimer's that's happening on October 5th, right by the Aging Partners at Victory Park, so the old VA hospital. I would love for you to come. It is absolutely and completely free to attend. All you just need to do is register there or beforehand on alz.org. And one of the things that we do at the Alzheimer's Association, or several of the things that we do, is that we raise money for research. We provide free support groups and free education across Nebraska. And we also have a 24/7 nationwide hotline that you can call anytime if you have any questions about Alzheimer's or other dementias. So thank you.
My name's AJ with Lucky Dog Property Solutions. We do small home repairs and handyman services here in Lincoln. We are ramping up for our fall and winter projects, so if anybody has anything that you're kind of looking for to get done during those months, we are trying to fill up the schedule at this point, and then always interested in those small, dinky little repairs that you guys don't want to do anymore. And we'll be there for it and take care of that stuff for you. So I have a dozen eggs for my chickens, as well as a little Lego 3-in-1 for a special little friend for you guys. Or you can take it, I guess, if you want to put it together as well. But that's what I got for you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Tanya Godwin, Oasis Senior Advisors. We are a free service to seniors and their families, just connecting you with whatever it is that you're needing at whatever chapter in life. We talked a lot out front about whether that looks like home care, whether that looks like connecting you with someone like Josh Penterman for the estate planning piece, or whether that is you're looking at independent living or assisted living or something along those lines. So just educational, that's why we're here. And what we brought today is an easy peasy 1,000 piece university, because I mean, 'tis the season now, right? Okay, so 1,000 piece University of Nebraska stadium puzzle here. And as you can see, with everyone wearing red, you should be able to do this in an hour. So I challenge whoever takes this home. I want a full report on my desk as to how long this took, because I don't want to do it. But it's a cool puzzle.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm with Sage Living, Tabitha's independent senior living community. We focus on addressing loneliness and isolation with our seniors. So we are a independent, kind of like an apartment building, but we focus on activities, clubs, live entertainment, all kinds of opportunities to get involved, make connections, meet friends. If you're ever interested, just give me a call. And today I brought a Hobby Lobby gift card.
I'm Rodney Heminger. I'm with Archwell Health, and we are primary care doctors for seniors and seniors only on Medicare Advantage plans. If you feel like you're not being heard with your doctor, if you're not, just totally thrilled with your care and the wait times and being able to get to see your doctor when you need to see him, we'd love to have you come over and visit with us. We've got a kind of a car care package here. We've got arm oil, we've got an air freshener, and then a gift card for a car wash.
Josh Penterman. I'm an estate planning attorney. Just looking to kind of help either sit down and educate folks on whether you have a plan in place or maybe you're thinking about needing to get one or update, so forth, wills, trusts, any of that. I'd be happy to talk with anyone and help where I can.
And I'm Wendy with Organized by Design again, but I am doing a presentation at Carriage Glen on Monday at 12:30. It's organized space equals more productive life. So we're talking about how to declutter, conquer the clutter, and less is more. So I do have flyers. If you want to come to the table afterwards, I'd be happy to give you a flyer about it too.
I'm Kim Nesha. I'm with Caring Friends. It's in-home care, non-medical. We go clear out to North Platte. We're able to help anyone. We have 18-month-old clear up to 95 that we help with. We can do housekeeping, laundry, people that come home from surgery that just can't get up yet. So if you want to talk to me out there, I'll be out there. And I have some candles and a cup.
My name is David Tuttle. I'm timid. Actually, I'm not. So I represent American Senior Benefits. American Senior Benefits is located in Havelock. That's where people go to hide from opportunity. But I just want to tell you, it's a pleasure. If you don't know, it's a pleasure being a part of this organization. The things that I do is, I'm your efficiency expert. I'm the guy. I'm your guy. So, and what we offer is solutions. Good solutions. The right solutions. We don't offer you $3,000 for a guitar. So, anyway, I've been in the business 16 years. I love what I do. Hopefully it shows. I get to answer all your questions, and guess what? It's about that time. AEP is right around the corner. So, usually every month I'm thinking, what do I gotta give? What gift do I bring? Well, I brought this. The reason being, I don't want you to get screwed. So, if you're able to get this, you'll know every time you look at them, because of course they're bright, hey, I remember Dave told me not to get screwed.
Hi, I'm Barb McKillop, and I'm with the Nebraska chapter of Aging in Place. And we are a group that, like Savvy Seniors, we get partners to work with us. And we, if you need help, we're also called Savvy Aging. You can give us a call, and we will help you find the resources you need to be able to age in place. In the future, sometime here in the next couple of months, we are going to have a class that will help you go through a checklist and to help you figure out what maybe some of your needs are.
Hello everyone, my name is Natalia Page. I'm a financial advisor with Chloe Wealth. We're located off 59th and Old Cheney area. A big part of what we do in our firm is help simplify the financial planning process for our clients. So especially for this group here, for those that are downsizing, for those that are going into some type of facility, if we have a spouse that has been diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's, we work closely with our clients to make sure that we're taking that part off of their plate with the financial planning piece of it. So happy to visit about situations. Everyone's situation is different, so it is important to work with someone that you trust and can really focus in on your situation in great detail. So that's what we're here for. My gift today is a little thing of assorted chocolates and a fancy gift card that you can go to a few restaurants, looks like, Panera, Applebee's, IHOP, and plenty more.
Hello, I'm Bud Thompson. I'm a real estate agent with Nebraska Real Estate and recently joined Alicia and her team with a specialty group of Lincoln and Omaha. We're expanding into Omaha, hopefully by the first of the year. My wife is an agent over there, Jane, and you all know Rose over there and TJ and George is around somewhere. We are real estate agents, and of course, there's more to what we do than sell houses, as you can see with what Alicia's created here. Eventually, we're going to get Alicia to create it in Omaha so we can have those people benefit from this. They're There's a couple things out here that might interest you. My wife yesterday grabbed a bunch of these. You ever see the New Horizon newspaper? It's put out by the Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging, ENOA. There's a pile of them out here on this table. Help yourself, take them. If you're interested in what's happening in Omaha, if you got relatives that are up there, and you know, there's also some brochures that kind of, actually, in a way, they define what the group does. We tend to bring people together. That we find out what people need and find somebody that's qualified to help them out outside of real estate. Anyway, that's what we do. I miss anything, Alicia?
So I'm Doug McCallum with St. Mark's, and we have a 56 passenger bus, and we take bus trips every month somewhere. And in October, we're going on 3 trips. One to an apple orchard where you get to taste apple cider, apple donuts, and pick apples. That's right outside of Lincoln here. Then we're going out to Hickman to the playhouse out there for an original play called Walnut Ridge. And then we're taking an all-women's trip up to Tecumseh. They have the best cinnamon rolls in the world, and they're about as big as, you know, a boat. So that's how good they are. So anyway, you're welcome to come with us. We'd love to have you.
All right, great. Now it's time to do the drawings for the door prizes. So, let's see who our first winner is.
Do we have other ones, stragglers coming
Oh, do we have any, what are they called? Surveys? Evaluations that have not been picked up? Right here. Anybody else? Anybody else? Nope. Okay. Close your eyes.
It's a candle gift basket. I forgot to add that.
Okay, John and Nancy Vallis. Alright. The next one is Lucky Dog. It's the Lego set and the eggs. Looks like a Ruth DeGarmo. All right. Okay, next we've got is it a puzzle? All right, a Huskers puzzle from Oasis. And it looks like Judy Lawson is the winner. All right, I'm going to hand it to her. Okay, we've got a Hobby Lobby gift card from Sage. And Jan Stid. Jan Stid is the winner of the gift card there. Okay. All right, looks like we got a gift bag from Archwell. And that is going to Linda Sawatsky. Did I pronounce it right? All right, great.
Excuse me.
Okay. And we've got a basket, it looks like, from Organized by Design here. There's journals, there's all kinds of good stuff in there, including the umbrella. All right, and Brenda Leisky? Is that right? Did I pronounce it right? Okay, close. All right, from Caring Friends, it looks like we've got a gift bag here. There's a nice cup in there. Kat Pothoff? All right, right down here. Thank you. Okay, and Dave Tuttle's got a screwdriver set. All right, Jeanne Crank. All right. All right, and we've got Chloe Wealth here. It looks like a bag of coffee and a gift card for all kinds of good restaurants. And it's going to Ramona Faber. Right over here, right here. Okay, and then we. You sure? All right, we got an announcement from Sage.
Hi, sorry, I forgot to announce this when I was speaking, but I want to invite you all next month after Savvy Seniors on October 1st, following the seminar, to come out to Sage Living. We're having a tailgate barbecue, so we will be serving hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and some side dishes, and a tour of Sage Living. So again, that will be next month, October 1st, after Savvy Seniors. Head straight over to Sage. We are located on 47th and L Street, big, tall, 4-story building. Open parking, and come get some lunch and a tour. Thank you.
Do you need
Great.
Do you need ours?
Don't need to RSVP, but it would be helpful, maybe? Let me know, or either way. If you don't RSVP, still come. That'll be a real fun event for Nebraska Savvy Seniors, and we're gonna go over there, and I'm gonna be there, and Susan's gonna be there. We're gonna have lunch, we're gonna have fun.
All right, thank you guys all for coming, and we hope to see you next time.